While you're watching this, the global debt clock is ticking at over $330 trillion. That is a number so large the human brain can't even process it. But here is a number you can process: 0.1. That's it, 0.1 Bitcoin. In early 2026, a shocking report revealed that if you own just 0.1 Bitcoin, you are already statistically wealthier in terms of hard money than 98% of the global population. Think about that. You don't need a whole coin. You don't need 10. You need a fraction. Why are everyday people, teachers in Ohio, nurses in Dallas, truck drivers in Nevada, quietly stacking this fraction while the talking heads on TV are still calling it a fad? Because they've realized something terrifying. The US dollar has lost 25% of its purchasing power in just the last 5 years alone. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you why not owning this specific fraction in 2026 could be the single most expensive financial mistake of your life. We aren't talking about mooning or Lambos. We're talking about survival in the most predatory economic shift in a century. Let's get brutally honest right out of the gate. Most people watching this video are working harder than ever. You're putting in the hours, paying the bills, and maybe carrying a mountain of debt that keeps you up at night. And yet, every single month, you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill that's set just a little too fast. You're moving, you're sweating, you're exhausting yourself, but you aren't going anywhere. Here is the part the banks and the nightly news will never tell you. The system was designed to feel that way. You've been told that saving money is the path to freedom. But in 2026, that advice is a trap. Why do you think your savings account is paying you a pathetic 0.5% interest, while real-world inflation, the stuff that actually matters like gas, eggs, and rent, is quietly hitting 6 to 9%? That is not bad luck. That is not a tough economy. That is a wealth transfer. It is happening to you right now, in slow motion, while you sleep. Your hard-earned life force is being diluted, and the bill is being handed directly to you. To understand the scale of this, you have to look at the numbers they don't want you to see. Since 2020, the M2 money supply in the US increased by nearly 40%. Think about that. 40% of all the dollars in existence were printed out of thin air in just a few short years. When you increase the supply of money that drastically, you don't create wealth, you destroy the value of the money already in your pocket. So when I talk about 0.1 Bitcoin, I'm not talking about speculation. I'm not talking about lottery tickets, moon boys, or overnight dreams of a Lamborghini. I'm talking about a strategic, calculated decision to position yourself on the right side of the biggest monetary shift in 100 years. Stay with me, because what I'm about to break down is going to reframe everything you thought you knew about money, value, and your financial future. Before we dive into the 2026 on-chain data that proves the scarcity of 0.1 Bitcoin, do yourself a favor. If you're tired of playing by the old rules and you're ready for a strategy that actually works in this new reality, hit that like button and subscribe to Future Freedom 360. Now let's talk numbers. Let's talk about why 0.1 is the magic threshold. There are approximately 8 billion people on this planet, but there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Period. It is hard-coded. No government can print more. No billionaire can lobby for more. If you were to divide that total supply equally among everyone on Earth, there isn't even enough for every person to own 0.002 BTC. Let that sink in for a moment. Most people can't even dream of owning 1/100th of a coin. By securing just 0.1 Bitcoin, you aren't just buying a digital asset. You are claiming a stake in a global reserve that the math says most people, billions of them, will simply never be able to reach, no matter how much they earn later. In the 1970s, it was owning land. In the 1990s, it was owning tech stock. In 2026, the ultimate flex isn't a luxury car, It's owning a fixed percentage of a finite global network. This is about moving from a system of infinite printing to a system of absolute scarcity. Here's a fact that most financial channels won't touch. As of early 2026, there are only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. That's it. Hard-coded into the protocol. You cannot print more. You cannot lobby for more. There is no Federal Reserve of Bitcoin. Now compare that to the US dollar, which has lost over 96% of its purchasing power since 1913. Why does that matter to you right now? Because scarcity creates value. Always has, always will. Gold understood this, real estate understood this, and now Bitcoin is the digital embodiment of that same principle, but with one massive upgrade. It's portable, divisible, and verifiable by anyone on Earth with an internet connection. Here's the 2026 data point you need to hear. On-chain analytics from early 2026 show that wallets holding 0.1 Bitcoin or more represent less than 4% of all active Bitcoin addresses globally. Less than 4%. That means if you secure just 0.1 Bitcoin today, you are already in a statistical minority that most of the world's population will never reach, simply because the supply is fixed and demand is accelerating. This isn't hype. This is basic supply and demand economics applied to the hardest asset ever created. Actionable tip number 1. Stop thinking in whole Bitcoin. Start thinking in Satoshis. 1 Bitcoin equals 100 million Satoshis. You can start building your 0.1 BTC position with as little as $20 to $50 per week using a dollar-cost averaging strategy, buying a fixed amount on a set schedule regardless of price. No timing the market, no stress, just consistent, disciplined accumulation. Pause for a second. Ask yourself this. Why are the same banks and hedge funds that spent years calling Bitcoin a scam now quietly allocating billions into it? In 2026, institutional Bitcoin holdings have crossed a staggering threshold. Major asset managers, sovereign wealth funds, and publicly traded corporations now collectively hold over 10% of Bitcoin's total circulating supply. 10%. Locked up. Off the market. And retail investors, people like you and me, are competing for what's left. Here's the brutal truth. When institutions move, they don't announce it on the news. By the time it's mainstream, the opportunity has already compressed. The early adopters are already sitting on life-changing positions, while the late movers are left wondering why they waited. Think about what happened to real estate in the 1990s. People who bought property then, even modest amounts, built generational wealth. The ones who waited, who said, "I'll buy when it makes more sense," are still renting. Bitcoin in 2026 is that moment. Not because prices are guaranteed to go up, nothing in investing comes with that promise, but because the structural case for holding a fixed supply, globally accessible, censorship-resistant asset has never been stronger. Actionable tip number 2. Set up a reputable, regulated Bitcoin exchange account this week. Not a random app, a regulated, audited platform with a proven security track record. Do your due diligence. Read their security protocols. Enable two-factor authentication. Your first move is not buying. Your first move is setting up a secure infrastructure to buy. The foundation matters more than the purchase. Right. This is the section most people skip, and it is the most important thing I will say today. Stop. Because this is where the predators live. Why do you think that every time Bitcoin gets mainstream attention, a flood of fake platforms, celebrity-endorsed tokens, and exclusive investment opportunities suddenly appear? Because your excitement is their weapon. In 2026, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reported that crypto-related fraud losses surpassed $6.5 billion in the previous 12 months alone. $6.5 billion. Real people, real savings, gone. Here's what the scams look like right now. Number 1, impersonation platforms. These are websites that look identical to legitimate exchanges, but are designed to steal your login credentials and drain your account the moment you deposit. Number 2, Bitcoin multiplier schemes. Someone promises to send you back double your Bitcoin if you send them yours first. This is a classic social engineering fraud. No legitimate platform operates this way, ever. Number 3, fake celebrity endorsements. In 2026, AI-generated video deepfakes of well-known financial figures promoting fraudulent Bitcoin investment platforms are rampant on social media. If a celebrity is personally inviting you to a private Bitcoin investment group through a DM or a social media ad, that is a scam, full stop. Actionable tip number 3. Before you send a single dollar to any crypto platform, run it through at least 3 verification steps. First, check it against the SEC's official investor alert database. Second, look up the company's registration status with FinCEN. Third, search the platform name plus the word scam or complaint and read what real users are saying. Your due diligence is your first line of defense. Bitcoin itself is not a scam. The fraudsters exploiting your curiosity about Bitcoin, those are the scams. Protect your capital like it's your future, because it is. Let me ask you something directly. Why do most people who know about Bitcoin still don't own any? It's not a lack of information. You're watching a video about it right now. It's not a lack of access. You can buy Bitcoin from your phone in under 10 minutes. The real enemy is a psychological trap called analysis paralysis. The feeling that you need to know everything perfectly before you act. And here's the brutal irony. The more you wait for the perfect moment, the more expensive that moment becomes. In behavioral economics, this is called present bias. We overvalue the comfort of doing nothing today versus the compounding benefit of acting now. The people who bought 0.1 Bitcoin in 2020 didn't have a crystal ball. They had conviction and a plan. And that conviction, backed by disciplined execution, is exactly what separates the wealth builders from the wealth watchers. You don't need to understand every line of Bitcoin's code. You don't need to be a tech genius. You need to understand one thing. The rules of money are changing, and the window to position yourself strategically is not infinite. The clock is running. The supply is fixed. And every day you wait is a day someone else is accumulating what you decided to leave on the table. This is not fear-mongering. This is financial physics. And physics doesn't care about your feelings or your hesitation. If this video shifted something in your thinking, hit subscribe right now. Because at Future Freedom 360, we don't do hype, we do strategy. We're here to help you navigate the noise and build a future that the system wasn't designed to give you. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Why haven't you secured your first 0.1 Bitcoin yet? Is it fear of the unknown? Confusion about the tech? Or are you already stacking sats like a pro? Drop your answer below. Your insights literally shape the next deep dive on this channel. But wait, before you go out and start buying, there is a massive trap you need to avoid. While you're looking for financial freedom, predators are looking for you. In our next video, we are exposing the golden handcuffs of the internet. Why investment apps promising a guaranteed 1% daily return are 100% scams. I'm going to show you the mathematical glitch they use to fake their profits and how they've already stolen billions from people just like you in 2026. You don't want to lose your capital before the real bull run begins. This is Future Freedom 360. Stop saving for poverty, start building for freedom. See you in the next one.